How I got into ophthalmology, 5 tips, let's go. What is up and welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name's Zach. I'm unemployed right now, I guess technically. I'm in between ophthalmology residency and oculoplastics fellowship. So right now I'm just an unemployed full-time YouTuber, I suppose. But in about 3 days, I'll be an oculoplastics fellow. Anyways, in today's video, what I want to do is give you 5 reasons that I think I matched into ophthalmology. These aren't the common things you think of, like grades, test scores, MCAT, that kind of thing. These are 5 different things that I did, maybe a little bit differently than most people, that I think helped me match into ophthalmology, at least at the program where I did match. So let's get into those 5 in this video. So the first thing I actually did was I started an interest group for the subspecialty that I was interested in. So when I became interested in ophthalmology in medical school, there actually wasn't an ophthalmology interest group. So I just started one and became the president of it. So that showed a lot of initiative. It showed the willingness to take kind of ownership and just start something if it needed to be started, and it showed interest in ophthalmology. So that's the first thing, is I started an ophthalmology interest group, became the president of it because I was the one starting it. So if there is a need for something and you have the sort of initiative and the drive to go ahead and just fill the void and step up to the plate and do something, you know, that can be appealing to programs. I think it was in this case at least. So that was the first one. The second thing I did, and I think this was probably actually the most important thing, is that I did an away rotation at the program where I ultimately ended up matching, and I showed up to that away rotation having already done, I guess it was like 3 or 4 ophthalmology rotations at my home program. So I already knew the basic skills of ophthalmology. You know, I could use the slit lamp, I could use an indirect ophthalmoscope. And so I showed up with already having some like baseline level skills. And so, you know, that went over pretty well. And it also showed initiative in the fact that I was willing to spend, you know, $1,000 to live in another state for an entire month while I did an away rotation at this program, to kind of see if I liked it and to show them that I was interested in their program. So it already shows a lot of interest for the place that you're doing the away rotation. In my opinion, they're a huge value. A lot of people will tell you not to do them. This is just my opinion. I think it helped. It obviously did help in my case. So if you are gonna do the away rotation, show up with some skills, show up with some knowledge, and get ready to work hard. That's another thing that I did on the away rotation, is I really showed up to work. You know, I stayed late. I took call with the on-call residents. If you're gonna do it, you gotta really go hard and actually do it. And by the end of that 1-month rotation as a medical student, they actually gave me my own room to see patients. So that was pretty cool and showed that I had, you know, come a long way, and that I could actually do, or at least begin to do, the things that they were gonna need a starting ophthalmology resident to do. The third thing I did is that while I was on this away rotation, I actually got to give a grand rounds presentation. It's like a big presentation to the department about a like special ophthalmology case, something interesting or educating. In our case, it was like questions of management in this case. Anyways, they let medical students do this, and a lot of medical students don't really put in the amount of effort that they need to really kind of impress the department. But I spent weeks and weeks, and probably like 15 plus hours in the library researching and studying this case, and like trying to understand all the facets of the ophthalmology that was involved in it, which is hard to do as a medical student. And then apart from that, I just actually practiced the presentation. I stood in a room and I gave the presentation over 10 times before I ever actually went and gave the presentation. And so don't underestimate the value of the ability to speak well publicly. And so that was actually, I think, one of the main things while I was on my away rotation, was how well I did on that grand rounds presentation. It got people interested in me as a medical student. And if you get the chance, don't blow it off. It's an opportunity. If you can present something or give a grand rounds or something like that on your away rotations, or even at your home program's ophthalmology rotation, don't underestimate. The fourth thing that I did was, I think I just got lucky on research. And so I just happened to work with someone that was a really big name in research, and I got a first author publication in JAMA Ophthalmology. And I don't think that necessarily the publication was the big thing, but it helped me get a letter of recommendation. And so it just kind of comes back to, all of it is more about networking and who you know, I think, more than what you know in a lot of cases. And while that maybe shouldn't be the case, what I found is that it often is the case. So it's something that is important to realize, and you shouldn't go trying to make relationships based on that. but you should be open to helping people, especially when you're a trainee, and kind of putting yourself out there and saying yes a lot in the earlier stages of your career so that you can afford yourself those kind of opportunities. All right, the fifth and last thing I did was actually send a letter of intention to the program telling them that they were gonna be ranked very highly on my list and that I was very excited about potentially going to that program. I was honest with them. I didn't say that they were necessarily gonna be my first program, but I did tell them that they're gonna be very high on my list, and I didn't send that letter of intention to any other program. So it's important to not just spam that kind of letter of intention out to every program hoping that one will stick. You should be honest and you should send it to the programs that you are actually really considering. And I found that that was actually really helpful too. Ultimately, it all ended up working out and I matched at the program. All right guys, so those are 5 things that I did maybe a little bit differently than some people. Apart from the grades, the MCATs, the steps, the clinical rotations and honors and all that stuff, the basic foundational level stuff. Those are 5 things that I kind of did to just kind of propel myself a little further forward in the application process and getting into ophthalmology. Hopefully that helps. Take that with a grain of salt. This isn't gonna work in every circumstance or situation, but it's something to consider if you're applying to ophthalmology, or really probably any specialty within medicine can be applied. So hope you guys liked it. If you did, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm Zach with Dr. Eyeball MD. I'll see you in the next one.